hotter than usual. And I was feeling a little bit more sorry for myself than usual, having to come to the well to draw my water in the heat of the day. Oh, I could have come in the early morning with the other women, but I could bear the heat more than I could bear the looks of those cruel, pious women. They judged me mercilessly with their eyes. They whispered behind my back. They treated me as a leper. Little do they know how fortunate they are to have a husband, a father, a brother, a kinsman, someone to provide for them and a safe dwelling. I would be content too with such good fortune. I was a spotless child once, with hopes and dreams of a home and family of my own. But life just didn't work out that way for me. I just tried to survive the best way I could. One thing just seemed to lead to another. Well, these were the thoughts going through my mind that day walking to the well. As I came inside of the well, I could see that there was a lonely figure sitting there, a man, a traveler. He was hot and dusty, as though he would be in this heat. As I drew a little closer, I could see that he was a Jew. And we don't see many Jews here in Samaria, although it's a shorter distance from Jerusalem to the Galilee if they go through Samaria. They usually take the long way around in order to avoid having any contact with us Samaritans. They despise us so much. He looked like he might be one of their rabbis, their holy men. But this one didn't appear to have spent too much time behind the pretty walls of the temple, growing fat and rich off of the shame and the sacrifices of the people. He looked more like one of the people. His hair and his skin were sunburned. His body appeared to be lean and muscular. His hands had worked for his bread. His eyes were piercing, yet tender, harmless like a dove. Now, he paid no special attention to me, so I just went about my business of drawing my water. When I had finished, he said, "Give me a drink." I was shocked. How was it that someone like him would be speaking to me, a Samaritan woman? Couldn't he see that I'm an outcast among the outcast, coming to the well to draw my water in the heat of the day? So I asked him. I said, "Sir, how is it that someone like you would speak to someone like me?" Well, he didn't really answer my question. He just said, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is asking you for water, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." Now, seeing that he had nothing with him but the clothes on his back, I said, "Sir, where would you get this water? This well is deep. Are you greater than Jacob, our father Jacob, who gave us this well and drank of it, as well as his sons and his cattle?" Again, he didn't answer my question. But he spoke to me in a very kind way, not condescending, but very instructive. And he said, "Whoever drinks of this water will thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst again. It will be like a well of water springing up on the inside into everlasting life. Never thirst again. Boy, if I had that water, I wouldn't have to come to this well to draw again. Not in the morning, not in the evening, not ever. Sir, I said in great excitement, give me this water so that I never thirst again. It was then he said something that saddened me. He said, go and call your husband and come here. I could feel the shame rising up to redden my face as I had to tell him that I had no husband. But again, he spoke in that very kind way, and he said, you have well said you have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the man in your dwelling is not your husband. How did he know that? Where did he look to know that? And now I became afraid of him, and I pulled my veil up over my face and I pulled away. He must be one of their prophets. When I could regain myself somewhat, I said, sir, you must be a prophet. I suppose I didn't want him to think I was too much of a dog, so I heard myself babbling about how the people here in this mountain worship God. Well, we do. We worship God. Just because we don't go to Jerusalem to worship him doesn't mean we don't. These Jews are so arrogant. But again he spoke in that same kind, instructive way, and he said, you Samaritans worship, but you don't know what you worship. The Jews know, for salvation is of them. But there's coming a day, and now is, when all who worship God here in this mountain or in Jerusalem